Please welcome Gerrit.
Retrokits. Yeah, we started. I'll have a few slides here, just like a corporate slide you need when you have a briefcase with you. And I'll wait for some video signal. The other one. So Retrokits is Gerrit, me, and Albert Huizing. We make, like we design the hardware, we then the software, and we try to make solutions for MIDI actually, because it's not always that easy as, how can I compare it? I mean, modular is not easy at all, but you know that when you unplug something, then it's gone, and if you plug it somewhere else, then it's somewhere else. And with MIDI, it's a bit harder to troubleshoot. So the tools we make is for, making a better flow in the MIDI connections. So the first thing we made, I think it's about 6 years ago already, I'm not sure, but it's the RK-008. There was a programmable MIDI cable. It had a microprocessor inside, which you could bend some MIDI stuff on the fly. At that time, the Volca sample came out, which was a very capable sampler actually, but not when you would want to use it on MIDI, because you couldn't really transpose or like pitch notes on MIDI. And this cable, it made it all possible, because we could like remap, control the signals to pitch or whatever. So when it came out, quickly we had other uses for it. So after that we made the whole bunch here, arpeggiators, the polyphony on a Digicheck, which it doesn't really have, and we made a DUI portal, which was, you could make your own little MIDI processor inside the cable, upload it on web MIDI, and then it stayed in the cable, and you could add all kinds of functionality to devices you already have. That whole site, dui.retrokits.com, there's the place to exchange those little pieces of code or make your own. And after that, it was obvious we would also need a hub to tie everything together. And with our kind of track record, we couldn't just make a hub with only MIDI, but we made the RK-006. At that time, MIDI Association said we were going to use trs-a MIDI, so for us that was a good opportunity to make a very small hub. This thing is by far not as large as you see it up there. It's like a matchbox. And because we use trs-a, you can switch the outputs from MIDI to gate as well, and a little bit of CV. You can use it on a computer, and then you have like 10 MIDI out buses, 2 MIDI in buses. You could really experiment with all kinds of hardware you would want to connect to a computer. And if you don't want to use a computer, this is the switch. Well, okay, that's what I told already. If you don't want a computer, you can also use it standalone, and it can host its own USB MIDI devices. So really very good toolbox for all kinds of musical experiments. You probably have seen it somewhere on tables and other people exposing here at SUPERBOOTH. But it's a bit of a cloak device, just as the cable. They're all little things you can take with you, and which don't actually take that much space in a box like that. So, and after that, the only thing we actually wanted to recreate was a way to record MIDI again. Like in the old days with the MMT8, you could just press record, play something in, and it would replay it again the same way as you would have recorded it. And well, lately, main music making is shifted a bit more to sequences, which are step-based. And the RK-8 had to go beyond the steps actually. We looked at the MMT8, which was a good nostalgic feeling for me. But when I worked with it again lately, I thought, well, there are some things missing. So we added something else. This is also the size of a pocket calculator, and very portable. And we have made a lot of stuff in it. Like, well, I have to read it myself. 8 tracks with 16 channels of MIDI, track lengths, quantize, filter, but all this stuff you can apply in real time. So if you want to quantize, you can, but if you want to keep the original playing, you can as well. You just revert to the original MIDI, and it will play everything. Also pitch bend controllers. Yeah, actually, the way it was before things moved to VSTs, for example. So, and now let's see. I have this box here, and I'm going to set it up here while I'm here, which needs this slide. And now I'll put it here. I have modified this little suitcase with some outputs, so I can connect all the stuff which is inside. Yeah, here it is. So here on the top there's the RK-008 as the MIDI brain. Here's my little keyboard for triggering some samples or for playing a little melody. This NTS1 I use as a fax machine, and the focus sample, like I told you, which had that strange MIDI implementation, can now be used as a real sampler with the RK2 here, tucked away below. And on the other side, these two halves are connected with USB, and the RK6 is here below, which is connecting all this stuff together. So I'll now take it apart and use the left and the right hand. Of course, it's like this. See if, yeah, okay, seems to fit. And I'll connect this here. This is a double mono from the one, from like the right side of the vocal sample, and this is double mono on the left side, so I can use one sample with effects and the other samples clean. And here, oh, to look here. Here goes the SH01 and the virus. And, oh yeah, well, it's always safe to have a little bit of power. I mean, there are batteries inside, but now it's powering up. And here, this thing pops, but I don't hear it. And the only thing left is the USB connection between these two. This one here. And this one here. So now they are all connected, if everything's right. And I have to plug this audio thing here. What was my channel? Yeah. So actually now on the focus sample, the slots are like sort of multi-timbre presets for me. Power this on as well. This one. And yeah, I've made some pad sheets, which I hope I will still remember working here. Well, if I have a few samples here.
I have seen what this kind of talk can do. I have seen what this kind of talk can do.
I can pan it to some effect on the.
I have seen what this kind of talk can do.
Like this. And I've prepared a few tracks on the RK-008 because, yeah, actually this works like this was pre-Ableton. You could make clips on it, and these clips would be played just after each other, just like you could make your music like in the moment. People like Orbital used it a lot, Sean Ruderman, and well, we thought it was worthwhile to get this whole structured clip playing back in a small box again. So yeah, let's see if I can get a little sound of it. So this is something I recorded in the virus. I could do a little transpose on it. could add another part with another sound on it. And slowly build up the set. Essential thing, I need to plug it. I can do it on the fly, of course. And then when I think I'm done with this, I can go to a next track. Yeah, play some stuff in and out again. Samples.
In the beginning, this you are beginning, and
I could also play with some loop points in the samples. Go back to a part from a previous one.
I saw it in Berlin. I saw it in Berlin. I saw it in Berlin.
Yeah, well, let's go to the next one. See what we have here. I perhaps could have prepared it a little better, and I still don't hear my SH-01 for some strange reason. Which is the bass from my whole set, and I would have loved to hear it. Well, sometimes you have to improvise. Part of the deal. Okay, for so far. So, yeah, another thing you can also do with the RK-2, the thing is that I've played some samples here.
They think it's really funny to see me jiggle.
And I can also change the mode of the RK-2, so I can just play the Volca sample as a real polyphonic sampler. So I play here the sound of the mellotron, the flute, and with a little effect of the NTS-1, which has a great stereo effect engine, and you can make all kinds of other uploads, other kinds of effects to it. It's like what we do, but then from audio. And I can make a different track with that also. I can just... hey, I just noticed maybe my... Oh, no, it's okay. I can go to another track with a whole different setup. Yeah, I still miss my beautiful SH-01. Not sure why. I really love that sound, but yeah, I'll just try one more time to just re-trigger it a little bit. It's a bummer, dude. Maybe I wasn't that smart to leave my performance box open for everyone to fondle with during the SuperBooth, but there I have it. Well, I just made a little track with the polyphony on on the vocal sample. Okay. I realize I haven't shown only, I've shown only a fraction of what the RK-008 actually can do, but then there's always a fine mix between showing everything and making it understandable. So if there's any questions on what I did or what should have been done, suggestions, then let me know. Sure. Guy in blue.
It triggers patterns. It triggers patterns, basically.
Yeah, you have like, oh, I see, I can show. No, it's not really readable, but yeah, it triggers patterns. Well, yeah, you can record the MIDI. You have 8 tracks where you could, one track would already be enough to record a whole song, but you can split it up in different parts, and you can add and remove parts of your song, so you can build up a part. You go to the next part, and you could have different sounds triggered, and that's why go through all your set to see, feel how long it should take, and feel the audience before you continue to something else. Yeah, and that's the way to build up a set. I mean, that was the way to build up a set in the 90s. So, and we try to recreate that feeling again in a portable way.
Cool, thank you.
Okay.
Hello. Can I import and export it into my DAW?
Yeah. You can connect the 8 to a computer, and everything you record on it while you're not at your computer, you can just export it as a MIDI file, and it can be read in by DAWs who can read standard MIDI files. Every stuff we do on our products is really with SysX or with just standard definition of MIDI, so there are no real surprises. There must be some other program which could also read it. You could even export the MIDI file and play it on an Atari ST even. That's what's so fun about MIDI in all these years.
Okay.
Hi, sorry. So I agree the NTS1 is awesome, but you cannot store presets.
Yeah.
And do you have a solution for that? So with the
Yeah.
press of a button, you just recall oscillator settings, effect settings?
Yeah, you can. Well, the NTS1 doesn't have like MIDI controllers for everything, but like if you have custom oscillators, you don't have a MIDI control for everything. But what we can do is you could have the RK2 and program a little memory which captures control values you put into the NTS1, and then you can store it into the cable, and the cable could then respond on a program change, for example, and send out all those controller values at once, so it would work as a patch memory. At that DUI portal, there's also something like that for a Yamaha CS, which is also like the a portable Yamaha keyboard, which also doesn't have patch memory, but yeah, you can use the two to dump a bunch of controllers at once, and then you can sort of emulate the patch memory inside the cable. Yeah.
You mentioned that there are 8 tracks that you can record to,
Yeah.
but also that one track is enough for a whole song.
Yeah.
So is it possible to record a MIDI channel and then record into it while playing it?
Yeah, like
another channel of MIDI into the same track, so you end up.
Yeah, and if you've if you've played another MIDI channel inside the same track, you can always later on like explode it to the different tracks. So there are 2 ways to explode it again. On the RK-008, you can like if you have drums, it could detect what kind of notes are played, and it would spread out the drums to all the tracks, so you could play with hi-hats only or make alterations. And when you have multiple MIDI channels, it will split out on MIDI channels, so you have more added room to play with the MIDI file of MIDI recording.
Yeah, I saw most of the things you have got built-in battery, and you had a USB battery for, I guess, the NTS1. But what about the RK-008? Does that have a battery?
Yeah, it does have a battery, but yeah, for us only, well, we're a small company, so sending out batteries, we don't have any contracts for that, but that's why we used a Nokia battery from the old phones.
Okay.
So you can just put in an old Nokia battery in the RK-008 and you have portable power, and these batteries you can get everywhere, so
Oh, excellent.
well, it was okay.
And then you had I didn't fully understand this, you got like a song mode on
Yeah.
there for part. Can you explain a little bit
Yeah.
about how that works?
Yeah, well, the thing is, you can in a song you have like a structure like for intro, chorus, and you could make a lot of parts. Yeah, the thing I showed just now is actually it was the misuse of the MMT8 back in the time, because it was actually made for building song blocks and then queuing them up, so you'd make a song with repeating patterns. But a lot of people used it live back then because it was so flexible in chaining them real time, like on the fly. But you can do a song mode, and then when you have one part which would even have like the bass or the chords and stuff, you can repeat it like 4 times. The first time you would mute a few channels, and the second time you could transpose the bass and start building up the kick drum, and so you could make a song like that. And then maybe on the 4th you would start with the second part with a different part of the song. So you can reuse a lot of stuff you've already recorded and play it after each other and make a song out of it. It's yeah, well, now making a song in a DAW is of course just beginning to end and copy paste maybe a bit, but this was the way you could do it before, and I guess when you're used to handling modular, this shouldn't be that much of a problem.
So nobody else? Okay, then thank you very much, Gerrit.
Okay.
Thank you for that nice music.
Thanks.